for everybody that doesn't know, this is PodTox episode 2. This is Marie, my co-host.
Hello.
And this is Josh. He is Hustling 101. He's going to be here today telling us about his story. We've got a couple like random questions for him and stuff, just kind of discussing his recovery and what he's trying to do for you guys and how much he's helping people. Because he, at this point, you're almost at like 70,000 followers or something like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So he is helping a lot of people. He is doing his thing. I think Marie has something for us real quick.
So I just wanted to say, in light of Overdose Awareness Month, I lit a candle for those that are still sick and suffering, that they may find their way. So this is for all those that we lost.
Heck yeah. So
Definitely.
I did not have a candle. We came up with that like right beforehand, and I literally combed my entire house. Could not find one. We have Scentsies. Who would have thought? So yeah, to get into this, we do have a sponsor who I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the podcast. But otherwise, I want to get in with hustling. So man, how did everything start with you? What was your like childhood like, your family life? What was all that going on?
So my dad left at around 5, 6 years old. I was raised by a single mother my whole childhood. I never had a stepfather, nothing. I never really had a male figure to look up to. So I kind of latched on to that. Anytime I had it, I just didn't have it. I had my mother, she's a very strong woman. She raised me until I was about 15. I was a very unruly child. I'm ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a little kid. So I was always in trouble, always in in-school suspension, always just, hanging with the troublemakers. I gravitated towards it. So my mom took me and got me put on Ritalin. So I've been on psych meds as a kid, my whole life. I remember them pulling me out of the lunchroom to give me my medication, and it slowed me down. At one point, it made me not want to eat. And I remember that. So I've got a love-hate relationship with medication. But to get into when everything kind of really started, at 15 years old was actually the first time I smoked weed, got high intentionally,
Right.
Me and my buddy stole some weed out of his mom's little thing and smoked it, whatever. So I was always, spontaneous and ready to do things at a young age. Didn't matter what it was. Well, at 15, my mother, she couldn't really handle me no more. I was too much, whooping my ass, doing whatever. It wasn't doing no good anymore, So she said, okay.
I got my ass whooped all the time too.
Me too. Me too, bro.
Yeah. At 15 years old, I'm becoming a young adult. So she said, okay, your dad's out of jail. He's kind of stable right now. And just to give a backdrop on my dad, that's where a lot of my addiction tendencies and shit comes from, because he's the same way. I'm pretty sure he still indulges in alcohol and stuff to this day. We don't talk a whole lot, but I mean, we started doing drugs together, but we'll get into that. She sent me to live with him because she couldn't handle me anymore. So I get there, and it doesn't take me long to figure out I can do whatever the hell I want to do at this point. I'm able to, I quit school in the 10th grade. I was just able to drop out. Didn't have much guidance. I was able to drink with my dad, do drugs, whatever, at a very young age, 16, 17. So I start driving, and I'm pretty sure I get into the whole meth scene. I'm 17 years old at this point. Get into the whole meth scene. Soon as I turn, and I've always liked opiates. Let me state that. Opiates has always been my drug of choice. I remember
That was your thing.
I remember stealing them from my grandmother. She had a prescription when I was 15 years old. So but I didn't know any better. I didn't know about addiction and all this. At that age, I was just doing my thing, living my life, I thought, with no guidance. So I turned 18. Soon as I turned 18, I'm in and out of jail. I mean, I wasn't 18 a month and I went to jail, and through the age of 18 to 26, it was a revolving door for me. I was in and out of jail, on probation. I was on probation from the time I was 18 to 28 years old.
Was it a lot for like just drug charges and stuff like that, or just random like fights or stealing, or what was all that usually entailing?
Well, I've got kind of a violent record. So assaults, I used to put my hands on people a lot. just doing dumb shit and driving, just getting drunk. Let me tell you something. Alcohol is one of the biggest reasons for my criminal record. I could always maintain myself just if I was doing drugs, like opiates and things like that. I could kind of, but as soon as I touched that alcohol, I would get violent, I would get stupid, I would jump behind the wheel. I was just ready to do anything. So I stayed in jail a lot on account of that, missing court dates, petty stuff. Now, when I hit 23 years old, I was really wilding out. This is probably the worst point in my life. So I was hanging out with the wrong people. Somebody broke into my house, stole my TV. And, my mentality back then was, eye for an eye. I'm going to go handle business. I was on Xanaxes. I was drinking. Me and a friend of mine, we loaded up. We had it in our head that we knew who did it. So we loaded up and go to their house. Now, we was told that there was going to be 3 people in here in the place that we was going to. We didn't care. Like I said, I was on Xanaxes. When you get on Xanaxes, you don't give a shit, man. So I was like, okay, so we go kick this dude's door open. Well, turns out he's staying in a place that's like kind of like a motel setup where there's apartments on each side of the hall. He's actually across the hall at a girl's house, at a girl's apartment when we do this. So when we get in there and find out that there's nobody in there, we're like, okay, fuck it. We're going to shut the door and look for my TV.
Yep.
Okay, so like 5 minutes later, it's kind of blurry, but like 5 minutes later, I hear a beat at the door. I'm like, shit. So I run to the door and open it. Lo and behold, it's him. So we get into it. We get to fighting or whatever. And then I hear the girl say, we called the police. I'm like, shit. So I take off running. We jump in the vehicle, take off. Before I make it home, I'm pulled over by the police. They take me to jail. They take a picture of my shoe because I had a footprint on the door. I was screwed. So I got an aggravated burglary and aggravated assault charge at 23 years old. Wow. Those are felonies. And I pled out to it. I couldn't beat it. And I would spend the next 3 years, 3 years on state probation over that. So from the age of 18 to 23, I was on misdemeanor probation. I got out of jail. I did like 9 months in jail, got out of jail, and then had to do the 3, right? So I ended up violating that. I met this girl and was still doing drugs at this point. And guys, if anybody in the chat is on state probation, you're trying to comply with your guidelines, you got to fly straight, man. Don't do the drugs. You got to fly straight, because I got out of jail. I didn't fly straight. I met this girl. We linked up. We was doing drugs every day, yada, yada, yada. I ended up violating my probation because I actually, I caught another DUI and assault charge because I went to her job. I was just wild on alcohol, man. There was this dude she was messing with or whatever. I went to their job, tried to kick. She was working at Sonic. I went to her job, tried to kick the door open. Them Sonic doors are tough, by the way. You ain't getting I try to kick the door open. They call the police on me. Police pulls up. They beat my ass, take me to jail. And I did 6 months in jail this time. That was my last stint before I changed my life. Now this is where the story gets good. I remember sitting in jail that whole time thinking, dude, like when I'm sober, this ain't me. Like, I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm not, people in jail, when you go, I don't know if you've been in jail, but people in jail talking about getting high, crack, yada, yada, yada.
Absolutely.
What they're going to do when they get out. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear none of this. I'm 25 years old. Go ahead.
So you weren't scheming. You lost that scheming mentality, basically. You sat there and you were really trying to do the right thing, trying 100%. To figure out positive things when you got out instead of like, oh, I'm good. I learned a lot in jail. You probably did too.
100%. Yeah, that last stint in jail did it for me. I said, you know what? If I don't change something, I'm going to end up in prison. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. Something's got to give. I can't do this. Because like I said, with a sober mind, when you're in jail and you got a sober mind, you got time to think about everything with a clear mind.
Yep.
So I said, you know what? That whole time in there, I did my time, did what I had to do. I was thinking about how I'm going to get out of this. I started adding up all my fines, started adding up how much it's going to take to get my driver's license back, yada, yada, yada. So I get out of jail. Okay, right when I get out, I go right back to the bullshit. And that lasts about 6 months because the girl that I was with, she left me for some dude while I was in jail. Broke my heart, man. One of the worst things I've been through in my life. But I try to get her back, and I noticed as long as I got drugs, I started selling drugs. As long as I got drugs, she's around because she was a junkie. You know what I'm saying? So we both were. So, and not to use that word, my bad. She was an addict. I didn't mean to.
You're good.
But
Say what you gotta say, man.
but I noticed as long as I had a bag of drugs on me, she was around. So I loved her. You know what I'm saying? I wanted her to come around. But it got to a point where I was like, I'm about to go back to jail. I'm having to
Yep.
stop doing drugs 3 days before my probation visit, go into withdrawal just to pass a damn drug test. You know, it. And I remember I had an epiphany. And for the ones listening, listen to this, because this shit, when I talk about mentality, this is where this comes from. I remember sitting in my dad's little spare room that he had in his little his Cracker Jack box trailer.
Hmm.
It was hot as hell. I was sweating. I had like 3 cigarettes and a cigarette pack. I was broke as fuck, not going anywhere with my life. I had a couple of pills, hydros, you know, whatever. Some no
Yep.
Subutex. I was on the Subutex. I had some Subutex. I had been doing that for a year. I was highly dependent on it. And I said,
Yep.
you know what? This has got to give. I'm changing this. I don't have a vehicle. I don't have nothing. I just got a job. And I did. I stopped cold turkey, everything. Stopped smoking, stopped doing the Subutex, was working a physical job, went into withdrawal, didn't even know that I was going to have a withdrawal as bad as I did. I was like, you know, I got this.
Right.
Went into horrible. This withdrawal lasted a month. I mean, straight.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
when I,
there's all the confusion with a lot of people who first get on Matt. A lot of people don't even realize you withdraw from that stuff. They
right.
think you get on and it's all good and fine and dandy. But I mean, it's not one of the most intense withdrawals, but mentally it is so freaking overtaking that if you don't have your mind in the right space, you can't do it.
Right. It's long. With Matt,
Yeah.
it's long. It's not as
Yep.
intense. Like a fentanyl withdrawal, from my experience, is more intense. But the
Yep.
Matt withdrawal, like methadone specifically, is the worst I've heard. But it's longer. Like it lasts a long time. So I proceed to withdraw from that. And at work, I remember counting the seconds, man. And what got me through this? Let me tell you something. I preach music too. I was able to listen to music at work. Yeah, do y'all like Five Finger Death Punch? Anyways, I was jamming
Yeah.
out Five Finger Death Punch, dude. And I had this song on repeat for 8 hours a day, every day at work, and it literally got me through. Like I was just so determined.
It was your
It,
theme
it,
song. Your theme song
yeah.
almost.
It was my theme song, man. It was
Yep,
my theme
it
song.
was.
So
Well, and it's whenever you're listening to music, it just helps your brain figure out how to make that dopamine faster, because that's the
uh,
problem.
the
So
emotions,
yeah, no, that's awesome.
your emotions come back, and when you listen to music and when
Yep.
you're not high, you get emotional. Like I remember tearing up in my eyes, like, you know, I was emotional, but I was strong. I was like, I got this shit. I'm gonna do it. I don't care how bad it hurts. I'm doing this. And mind you, I could have walked right over to my buddy at work and got whatever I wanted. You know, so that's how determined I was. But you got to get to that point, because I've also
Hmm.
been to a point where I couldn't do it. I wasn't mentally. You got to get to that point in your mind. Um, if you're trying to do the shit cold turkey the way I did it, you know.
Yep.
So I get clean, man. I ended up getting a gym membership about 2 weeks into my withdrawal because I started feeling better, because that was on my mind too, because my brother works out and he was all like jacked and shit. And I'm like, dude, I want to get like that. So I start working out 2 weeks in, and I fall in love with the gym. I mean, I'm going every day. I'm in there. I find a newfound addiction. So
Yep.
Yep.
I end up meeting who would end up being my wife about 2 months later, after getting clean about 2 months later. So it was like a perfect alignment of things that fell together for me. And I've got this determined mentality to change my life. I get with this woman. She's already got a good place to live. I move in with her because I don't have shit. I move in with
Right.
her. We team up. We're a great couple. We're going to work. We work literally 10 minutes down the street. We're you know, Monday through Friday, normal life type shit. I'm not going out hanging out with no troublemakers, nothing. I'm off the drugs. Now, I was drinking a little bit. I will say that on the weekends, like I was drinking, but I ended up cutting that out too down the line. So I, for the first time in my life, I get to experience having money. So that got addicting. I was like, damn, this is nice to be able to have things and have a nice place to come home to, and a nice
Yep.
bed to sleep in, and a flat screen TV. And, you know, this is mine. You know, even though it was hers, it was mine because we were together. And, you know, we were a team, and it was ours. And I had never experienced that. So we stay together for a little while, and then I get really determined in the gym. I'm talking, I cut everything out. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm clean eating. I'm counting every little calorie,
Macros.
macros. Like I get into it real hardcore. And this is like, I want to say 2 years in, we end up buying a house. We end up buying a house. So
Nice.
yeah, we end up
Nice.
buying a house. We get married, buy a house. I get my GED, get my driver's license back. So at this point, in a period of, I want to say 3 years, from the age of 26 to 29, I mean, I completely turned my life around. And it cost me about 30 grand to do all this. But over a period of time, if you stay focused and work on your goals, you can knock this out.
I
So
agree.
that's what I did. I completely changed. I mean, I was making good money. Everything was great. Uh,
Do you think that, because obviously you found the right girl to connect with and everything like that. I've had kind of mixed feelings about that because whenever you first get clean, a lot of people get in that relationship and it ends up being more toxic for them. Do you think that it's, I don't know how to phrase this, but just because we're not the best at making the right judgment that early on, do you think it's a good idea to get in relationships if you think you found the right person or not so much?
Probably not. Like right now, even though I'm a year in, even right now, I don't really so much, like I kind of want to focus on myself. But for me at that point in time, I got lucky. I met the right one.
Hmm.
She was good for me. She wasn't a bad influence on me. She pushed me to reach my goals. She stood behind me on my goals. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like, you're kind of playing Russian roulette with the relationships. You know, you could meet a good one that makes you do better, or you could meet somebody that contributes to your bad behavior. So luckily for me, it was the other way around.
Right.
So this is when the story takes a twist though. And I hate talking about this because I did my wife wrong. We ended up getting married, but I wanted to live the single life. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I had the body I wanted, I had the money I wanted, I had everything. I was getting attention from a bunch of different females. I didn't know how to handle it. I had never got that before. So it felt good to me. It was like a drug, you know.
Yep.
So I divorced my wife. I left. I left her the house, left her everything. All I took was my clothes. I took my clothes and
Wow.
my vehicle. I left her the house. She was afraid I was going to try to take the house and all that. I didn't want none of that. I left everything with her and just left. And I started playing. You know, I started playing with the women, doing this, that, third. I met this girl in Atlanta, got in another relationship. That was a very toxic relationship. I was stressed out. So we was together for about a year. Long story short, I ended up leaving her and moving back to my hometown. I moved to Atlanta and then we break up. I moved back to my hometown. Now this is when I'm getting closer to the fentanyl.
Okay.
So I'm getting closer to the fentanyl. So at this point, this is when I say I had 5 years of sobriety. Like I got clean, and this lasted about 5 years because or hold on, 4 years, 4 years, 4 to 5 years because I got clean at 26. It lasted all the way up until I was about almost 31. Yeah, so 5 years.
Dude, it's
Um,
such a blur sometimes,
I'm
like trying to remember it all.
yeah, yeah. So about 5 years. Um, but I'm single at this point. I no longer have the structure of my wife in my relationship. I'm just a free agent. You know, I'm out here doing what I want to do. I'm making good money. I feel on top of the world. I'm an asshole. I got an ego on me. I think my shit don't stink. All the women want me. Yada yada. You know, that's a drug.
hmm
So I'm doing what I want to do. I end up meeting. I end up getting a very good job. I'm talking. I built myself up to a six-figure income throughout this
Nice.
process. So um, the women is what got me because I end up messing with this woman, and at this point, I don't have recovery tools and shit. Like I didn't go through the NA, and this is where the program comes into play. You need like
Yep.
having a program is good because it'll teach you these things, and that's where I failed. I didn't understand. I thought I know what I'm doing. I can get high every now and again. You know, I'm good. I know not to take it too far. But you know,
Yep.
with an addict mindset, you think you know until it's too far. So
Yep.
uh, that's what happened. I ended up linking up with this girl, and she was doing fentanyl. She didn't tell me at first, but I kind of knew she was on drugs. But I ended up finding out she was on it because her and another girl, like I said, I was a player. They got in a fight in my driveway. They ended up meeting, and the girl on fentanyl, her purse like spilled over in my car. So in the midst of this scuffle, I go to take her home, and she tells me to go grab her purse. So I just rush. I grab her purse real quick, scoop everything in it, and I go. So I take her home, whatever. About a week later, I get a day off from work, and I'm cleaning my car out, and I see a blue M30 in my floorboard. Check this out, guys. I throw it away. I throw it in the trash can. And I'm like, hold on, because I know what Roxy's look like. They look like Roxy's. I didn't know shit about the counterfeit pills at this point. I'm like, that was a straight up Roxy 30. So I'm like, you know, me knowing what opiates do, I'm like, well, fuck it, I got a day off. And that's what happened. I dug it back out of the trash can like a fucking idiot. I took it inside, busted it in half, crushed it down, and, you know, snorted it. And it rocked my fucking world. I'm talking.
I
I
have
was
a
like,
question. Don't
yeah,
you always realize that when you're not looking for something, that's when something appears?
yeah, yeah, for
Like when you're
sure.
not looking for it, there it goes in your car, and that sets you back off.
Yeah,
That
because
little pill that you found in between the crack of your car took your life to another direction.
it did. That's where it started. That's where it started right there.
Scary.
Yeah. So, I do it or whatever, and then I ended up doing the other half later. I mean, it makes me sick and everything. I didn't care. I like the feeling I got. I'm
Yep.
throwing up off this
Sure.
shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really have a tolerance at this point. It's a wonder it didn't make me overdose like it does. That's exactly what's happening to people. They're getting
Yep.
a hold of that shit, not knowing it's fake, doing it and overdosing. But I didn't.
Yes.
I got lucky. So I end up hitting the girl up later, like 3 days later. I'm like, yo, you dropped something in my car because I know it was her. I know addict tendencies. Like I knew it was her. It wasn't the other girl. It was her. So she came straight out. She was like, yeah, you know, you owe me $30. I'm like, look, I don't owe you shit, but can you get some more? And she could, you know, she was in that, you know, in with the people, so she was always able to get it.
Yep.
So it became an every weekend thing. I didn't understand that this drug had already had a hold of me. I thought I still had
Mm-hmm.
it under control. Even on the weekends, I couldn't say no to it. Every time I had a day off, I had to go get some. Had to go get some. And I wasn't paying attention to the fact that, you know, you need to stop. You probably got a problem. This drug has a hold of you and you don't even know it. And at this time, I'm still making good money at my job, doing good, doing great in life, making all kinds of money. I got my own place. I got 2 vehicles, doing great. But this addiction is starting. It's manifesting. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Did you ever have a point where you told yourself that, like you really knew, all right, I have to stop right now? Because you tell yourself, oh, I need to take a break. But did you ever have that moment where it's like, I have to stop?
uh, Not that intense, but I remember I knew I had a problem. The overdoses didn't even make me think that way. I remember overdosing before I hit
Yeah.
this point. Like the overdoses never scared me. I don't crazy, but um, I remember I was on my way to work and somebody hit my phone and said, "Yo, I got something on deck. Do you want some?"
Mm.
In my mind, you know, the impulsivity the addicts have, I said yes, and I called into work and said, I'm going to be late to turn around and go get this pill and get a fucking point or half a point at work. Like, that's a problem. You got a problem if you're missing work to go. So
Yep.
I kind of realized it then. I was like, all right, man, you got an issue. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be calling into work to go get a pill. Um, but I don't do anything about it. It carries on. And I'm messing around with 2 different women at this point too. Some of y'all might know the girl I was just with, Jonice. I don't know if y'all paid attention to that whole thing, but I used to
Yeah.
go live and she was in my lives, but she kind of stuck with me through the whole thing. And the video of me nodding out that I put up, she took that video.
Wow.
So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, she didn't understand what was going on because I wouldn't tell her. She didn't know. Like,
So a lot of those videos that you had whenever you first started your account, that was all her. Because she was in quite a few of them where she recorded for you.
yeah. Well, she would record me to show me because I didn't even know
Yeah.
I was nodding out. I didn't even know I was doing that. When you're on fentanyl, for me, anyways, I didn't know I was doing that. Like, you can't look at yourself. So when I saw these videos, I'm like, damn, that's how I look. You know, so it kind of woke me up a little bit. Still didn't stop. Still didn't stop. I ended up calling into work one day and getting a COVID leave. This is when the addiction took
Wow.
yeah, this is when the addiction took a turn for the worst. I called into work, told them that I was around somebody with COVID, and the company I worked for was a very good company. They would give you paid time off to not come in. So
Hmm.
they gave me a whole week. Well, lo and behold, I ended up linking up with somebody that was selling them things on the cheap. and I've got like $2,000 in my bank account. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing good. Um, I end up buying like 50 of them, like a
Mm.
fucking idiot. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to stretch these out. No, if I got them, I'm doing them. That's how I
Yep.
know. You know what I'm saying? If I got them, I'm doing them. So within that week, I mean, I was doing like, 10 a day, whatever, like just because my tolerance was still kind of low. But that's when I
Sure.
made myself dependent. That's when I damaged my brain to the point where I was dependent and I needed to have them. Because when I got back to work, I was like experiencing withdrawals. I'm like, shit, I'm getting these withdrawals. So I kept it going for a couple of months. Now, I remember talking with Jonice and I'm like, I have a problem. I need to get help. I actually scheduled an appointment at a MAT clinic. I went to
Wow.
see, I went to see a, what do you call it? The doctors that do checkups on you.
An addiction specialty
No, no,
doctor,
no,
like
it
an
wasn't
addiction
addiction. It was like
primary
a
care.
primary care doctor. I set up a
Oh, okay.
primary care doctor because
Okay.
I was trying to get my health back in order and I was dealing with some injuries from the gym. And that's important to note too. When I lost the gym, when I stopped working out, that's when the addiction. So I lost that healthy addiction and then this new
Yep.
one took its place. So
Yes.
that's why I scream the gym to everybody or a
I
hobby,
could
something.
relate.
Yeah. So I'm glad I added that. I'm glad I didn't forget that. So I go to my primary care doctor. I tell him, look, I've got an addiction, man. I've got this fentanyl addiction. I'm high right now. I just spill it to him. I'm like, I need help. And he's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna set you up an appointment at this Suboxone place in Cleveland, Tennessee. So I got the appointment. It was like a week away or whatever. I made the appointment because they only did their things on Mondays or whatever. It wasn't like a normal
Yeah, some do
Yes.
methadone.
that.
They do inductions, like where they
Yes.
make you come in.
Yes. So, and this place was specifically a Suboxone place. It wasn't, they didn't do methadone. It was Suboxone straight up. So they made my appointment. Now get this. I had it in my mind to get help. Within this week, this is when I left work to go get the pill. I've made videos on this. I left work to go get the pill. I come back home. I get pulled over. Now, now, I the reason I got pulled over was for a headlight out. Guess why my headlight was out though? Because I nodded out one day and ran over somebody's fucking trash can.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I
I
nodded out and ran through somebody's trash can. What's up, Marie?
So did you used to do a lot of reckless things? Like I could remember nodding out and forgetting I hit people. I would back into cars. My car was dinged 3 ways to Sunday, and I'm sure yours was too.
Well, not really, but by the grace of God, I remember being on the interstate, waking up in the grass and having to whip my truck because I had a Dodge
Wow.
Ram. I had a Dodge Ram. I had a Toyota Corolla. I had a Honda Civic. I mean, I was really doing. I fucked my life up, guys. I really did. This drug took
Right.
everything from me. I built up a great life for myself and lost it. So I remember being on the interstate, waking up like almost about to hit a vehicle. It's a wonder I'm still alive just from nodding out behind the wheel. But anyways, I get pulled over that night for the headlight out. I've got the drugs on me. I'm high. I've got one of them GI Joe cops. He ain't trying to work with me. He ain't trying to let me go. I told him, look, man, I'm just on my way back to work. Please work with me on this. I don't want to lose my job. He ain't having it. He takes me to jail. He arrests me. Now I'm on the clock because in my mind, I was going to leave. Nobody was going to know I was gone. I was going to come back. Everything was going to be good because I've done this before, but I didn't plan
Right.
on getting pulled over. He took me to jail.
So you got pulled over and you went to jail for the marijuana grinder that was in your car. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That and because he didn't find the fentanyl, that was already done up.
Okay.
He it was paraphernalia and he made me do a sobriety thing and he said my eyes wasn't right. So in my mind I was acting straight. I was good, but at the same
Oh
time
yeah.
you don't know. But he says, okay, I'm arresting you for DUI. I'm like, shit, takes me to
Hmm.
jail. They let me use the phone at the jail. I call my supervisor. I'm like, look, man, I went to jail. I already knew it was automatic termination. I went to jail on the clock. I get out of jail. I sit in jail for like 16 hours. I end up calling both the females I was messing with up. I didn't care who came and got me. I just said, somebody come here and get me. So it
Yeah.
No
ended up being
shit.
Jonice. She took $400, came, got me out. And I get out, I call my job, And the way this job is, like I said, it's a good company, so they got to go through like a interrogation process thing before they decide to let you go. So I'm going back and forth for like 2 weeks with them and doing interviews, telling them about what happened, and they finally determined that I'm terminated. I'm sorry, whatever. And that's when my life kind of I went through a deep depression over that because I worked so hard to get my life in order, and I knew what I just did. This was my third DUI, wasn't my fourth
Yep.
or my fourth DUI. This was my fourth DUI, and I knew I was looking at a charge. I knew I was looking at a lot of jail time, a lot of whatever, and I end up making my Suboxone clinic appointment. I stay on that for about 3 months. And like I said, I wasn't ready. I was still wanting to get high because even on the Suboxone, I didn't want to deal with the pain. I wanted to just numb myself out. I almost wanted to not be alive anymore. You know what I'm saying? So,
Did you try and abuse the Suboxone? Since you
yeah,
weren't ready, you tried going crazy
hell
with
yeah.
it.
I remember
Yep.
taking 5 strips in one day, 5 of the 8
Oh yeah,
milligrams, the
yeah.
ones you put under your tongue. Yeah. And I couldn't do it. So, I remember getting my script filled one day because they gave me prescriptions like take homes or whatever. I could just do what I
Mhm.
wanted with them.
Yeah.
Um, And I was like, you know what? I'm 24 hours off the Suboxone. I'm gonna hit my dealer up and go get some Fent because I want to get high. You know what I'm saying? Suboxone wasn't. It don't get you high. If you need it, if you're dependent, it don't get you high. So I did that, and I ended up losing the Suboxone clinic. I didn't go back because I don't know about you guys, but I was having to pay $400 a month to go. My insurance wasn't going to
Yeah,
cover
Wow.
it. But at this point, I
yeah.
lost my insurance anyways.
Wow.
So and at this point, I had cashed out my 401k. I had $20,000. I paid a lawyer 2 grand for the little court process I was going through. Paid a lawyer and blew the rest on drugs. I was just wilding out. I was like, you know what? I'll quit doing this fentanyl later. I'm gonna figure it out.
Yep.
I run through this shit in like 2.5 months. And this was about a year and a half ago from today that this was happening.
Wow.
A year and a half ago from today. So um or a little over a year and a half. That like my whole addiction lasted 2 years, but it took a turn for the worst about the last 6 months of it. To
Right.
where I was just like, I got to the point where I was doing 30 of the pressed pills a day, 30 of them. Like,
Wow.
yeah, so
And you overdosed 6 times?
if not more, if not
Wow.
more. Yeah.
And that never you did you ever get like super scared after an overdose, or did you always just get back to what you were doing?
I got back to what I was doing. I
Yep.
would justify it in my head. I was just going to look for a new dealer. Like their shit is the deadly stuff. If I just do these over here, like stupid, just stupid.
Yes.
I was
See,
I was
We're
an
sick
addict.
in the mind. Yeah.
I was an addict, and I was trying to justify any way I could to still have this drug in my life. So
and that was kind of my thing because I mean I was on subs for a long time. I was on subs for a little over 3 years, and I feel like right at the end of my actual using and addiction phase, that Fent kind of just started rolling in. So I
yeah,
saw the very beginning of it, and after seeing everything that happens constantly now, I can't imagine. Like I would be so fucking scared. I just had one of my buddies die 2 days ago because he
Wow.
it's
OD'd, and
crazy.
he was. I got my stuff from the same guy as him. So, dude, I can't even imagine how much how much fear there's got to be in that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's not what it was years ago, that's for sure. We're on a whole nother drug game right now.
Yeah, it's taking everybody out. But the sad thing about it is, if you're addicted to it, you don't care. I did not care about my life.
Exactly.
I didn't. I didn't care if I woke up. Anybody could have walked to my apartment and found me unalived, laid out in the. I mean, I was nodding out. There were times I'd be on FaceTime with my girlfriend, and I would wake up with my phone in my hand, like this, and my head's hurting because I stopped breathing, and I was by
Yep.
Wow.
myself. And it would be 2 hours later, and my phone is blown up with messages, and I'm like, "What the hell happened?" Like that's an overdose. I overdosed.
Yep.
I just didn't. Go all the way out. I was able to wake back up. So
Now, throughout all this time, were you still taking benzos? Because I remember you were talking about like the Xanax. And did you continue to use that, or did you get off of that?
I
Or
never was. I never was really on Xanaxes like that. I mean, when
Okay.
the night I caught my charge, I was like, I never cared for Xanaxes or benzos or Klonopins. I
Okay.
Yeah.
never cared about that. My thing was strictly opiates. And the time that I was using fentanyl, it was just like I only cared about fentanyl. I didn't care to drink. I didn't care to do nothing else. I actually tried to use methamphetamine to get off fentanyl, and it didn't work.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Hmm. That's what I was going to ask. Did you do the whole thing? If you couldn't find any fent, you would go and start drinking or something to kind of even things out? Because that's what I would do. I would try and get drunk because I didn't want to go through the withdrawal.
there was never a time I couldn't find it. I was so
Oh,
plugged in my
shit.
city, like I could find it whenever but that's how plentiful it was. Because
That's sad.
Right.
That's scary, especially with like our youth right now. It's a chemical warfare basically. Like
yeah,
they're coming after us.
yeah, definitely. It's sad, because I do know what you're talking about. When I got clean at 26 years old, I did run into problems like that. I ran into droughts. People didn't have scripts because that's when I was doing script prescription.
Yeah.
I was buying for
Hmm.
people that had scripts. Uh, I ran into times like that a lot where we couldn't find nothing. You know what I'm saying? But when that fentanyl hit the city, there was never a time I couldn't find anything.
Wow.
Ever.
That
Yep.
wow.
Yeah. So,
So
um,
the willpower that you have is actually a very beautiful thing. It is. The willpower and the determination to say enough is enough, and I'm not doing this with medicate at Matt, and I'm going to do it my way. And you figured out what worked for you, like working out. You
yeah.
you you. What do you like to do when you work out? Like, what is your go-to thing?
Well, I mean, ever since I started, I kind of do like a 2 day split type thing, like bodybuilding. I do bodybuilding workouts. Like
Okay.
Right.
I don't really do the CrossFit thing, which that shit's hard, man. I respect anybody that does CrossFit, but I'm more
Yeah.
of a weightlifter. Like I'll go in there and I'll hit like chest, triceps one day, try to kill it, like a muscle group type of person, like leg
Now,
day.
does it feel? Do you get that? Because I like to work out, and like if I'm on my treadmill, I get like that rush where I just want to
High.
keep on going, and it feels so good, right?
It's a high. Yeah, you get high.
Mm-hmm.
It's addictive. The
I
gym is,
love it.
yeah, it's addictive. You get that. There's so many benefits to fitness. There's so many benefits. You get those endorphins releasing in your
Yep.
brain yeah, and it feels like if you're an adrenaline junkie like myself, like a lot of addicts are, when you get that rush, it feels like a drug. You're on top of the
Yes.
fucking world. So that's why it's kind of easily replaced with drug addiction but to me it's a healthy addiction. I don't care how far you take it. If you replace your
Oh,
drug
yeah.
addiction with fitness,
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
it's healthy. So
But before we move into like after you got off the subs and everything, when when you were on subs, did it make you feel any type of way? Because like I know with me, whenever I first started on them, it wasn't that bad. But then after a while, like that motivation left, and like the
yeah.
sex drive started to drop. And did you
Hmm.
feel that?
The constipation, the kind of yeah, dude, the constipation was on another level, dude. It would hurt to use the
Yep.
bathroom straight up. I mean that's
Yep.
raw, but I mean it just is what it is. So yeah, the sex drive, I didn't have my ambitions wasn't there. Like I just didn't really care. I wanted to just lay around. You know, that was my experience with it. But like I said, that lasted about 2, 3 months. I relapsed back on the fentanyl. I ended up, calling my mother. I said, "Look, I gotta do something." That was the only family member I had that lived out of my hometown. So, I wasn't looking for rehabs. I didn't have any more money to go to a MAC clinic. I was just, I couldn't hold a job. Um, I said, "Look, I'm gonna have to move up there." What's
Were
up?
you the only addict in your family? I'm curious because I know that you said you had a brother, right?
I got 2 brothers and 1 sister.
And are you the only one that has issues like with addiction or?
Yeah, to the extreme to where I take it. Yeah, like I've got a brother that
Okay.
smokes marijuana. I got a brother that would mess with opiates, but he just didn't never take it as far as I did. He was still kind of able to maintain his life, and I did that too for a while. But
Right.
with the type of mindset I got, you are playing with fire when you do
You're
that. Straight
all
up.
in. You're all in or
I'm all
nothing.
in. I'm all
Yep.
in. That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. I'm all in. So I end up moving. I end up moving out of my hometown, moving away. I start my recovery process. I start my withdrawal process. Went through the worst withdrawals. I mean, I laid around. Like I said, I was doing 30 of them pressed 30 pills a day.
Wow.
So when I stopped that cold turkey, it was bad. So, and that's when the kratom kind of came in. I utilized 3 days into my withdrawal. I utilized the kratom. I said, you know what? My buddy was telling me this shit works. Now it's not like Suboxone. It ain't gonna work like Suboxone, but it
Right.
helps. Or methadone.
So how did you know what type of kratom to get? Did you just, because isn't there different types? I'm not
There's a
really educated on it.
there's a bunch of different types. My buddy was suggesting the shots, the extracts, and then so that's what I did. I didn't know no better, and that lasted about 2-3 months.
What?
And
How
I
much were
ended up.
you taking? How much were you taking whenever you were using the kratom? Like, was it enough to actually, like you said, it doesn't completely suppress the withdrawals, but it was enough to keep it so you could actually function. But was it messing up anything else whenever you were taking it?
Yeah, like my ambition kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't
Okay.
like the whole, it's kind of like MAT in a sense.
Yep.
It's a replacement thing. But with the kratom, I noticed the more I took, it would make you like dizzy and kind of feel like shit. So there's a sweet spot when it comes to kratom. There's a
Hmm.
sweet spot that you have to find. But the withdrawals were not bad. I mean, so I recommend anybody trying to come off whatever, if you want to use kratom, my experience was pretty damn good. I didn't have very bad withdrawals at all. So,
The biggest thing with kratom is that scares me because I have a whole bunch of people that ask if I think kratom is a good thing to use and stuff like that. And it's not horrible. It, like you said, it can be really, really good. The problem with a lot of addicts is they take it too far
yeah,
anyways, so it ends up just damaging so much in that process,
it
and then
does.
they're
You're
just
right.
screwed anyways.
You're right.
There's a fine line when it comes
Yeah.
to, like, you can't go over that fine line. That's all.
The benefit of a clinic is they control your dose. They control the problem with kratom is you can go get it whenever you want. You can take as
Right.
much as, it's not a controlled type thing. And you do build a tolerance.
I saw this thing on TikTok where this girl got arrested for getting kratom down south because it was illegal to take into her state.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
see it, but I believe it.
it's not legal in every state. It's just certain
Yeah.
That
states.
she literally is facing jail time over it though, which is crazy. She had no record, no record. And for going to a gas station and getting kratom, oh, she's locked up.
They're probably going to end up banning it in all states, just to be honest. They're probably going to end up banning it because it's too much opioid like. It's too addictive like.
I think so too, because why would they lock somebody up over it? I mean, that doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah, you can get a
Wow.
bunch of shit in these head shops though. I mean, they sell all kinds of crazy stuff, um, but that's pretty much the addiction story. Now I'm a year, and I do tell myself I got a year. I did have a relapse in between that year. I don't give a shit what nobody tells me. I don't count it. I got a fucking year. I'm a year clean. So that's just me, you know. The,
Congratulations.
the same way that like if somebody's on mat, you can't tell them they ain't clean, and that's perfectly fine. That's how you
Yep.
should look at it. Fuck what other people think. That's just the way my mind is, man. I don't care what people tell me. I do what works for me, and that's just what it is. So when I had the relapse, let's talk about that. When I had the relapse,
Sure.
I remember it being a reminder of why I quit in the first place. I didn't want to keep going. I was like, dude, like this is not it.
Did you have a mental relapse first? Like, were you starting to think about relapsing before you relapsed? Like, can you go back and see a mental relapse first?
Uh, Not really. What made me relapse was I had a court date. For the thing I just went to jail over when I was getting
Uh huh.
donations and all that. Everybody's seen it. I blew up over it, but um, I went to court that day and I was thinking, oh, I'm going to jail. In my mind, my dumbass mind, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and get high before I go.
Yep.
I'm
We
gonna
all,
go,
hey, we all want that one last time, right? I mean,
I'm gonna go ahead and get high before I go, and that's what I did. And I ended up not going. My
wow.
lawyer ended up putting my putting my court date off for a few months. And then she told me, look, I'm going to need 4,000 more dollars because I didn't know you had priors. I was
Yeah.
like, well, shit, I don't know how I'm going to come up with this 4,000. But I had this social media thing. So we can go ahead and get into that too, because I know a lot of people want to know
Absolutely.
about that. I had this social
Absolutely.
media thing that I had a passion for. I just completely lost the passion for trying to go pursue another career. I said, you know what? If I get locked up, it is what it is. I'm going to build this platform because I'm passionate about it, and I'll have it when I get out. This is something I get to keep for myself. I'm not going to have a job when I get out. I'm not going to, whatever. Like, I'm not going to be able to have this, but I'm going to have this platform. I'm passionate about it. So I
I
built it.
think I think social media and that stuff can be really good for addicts too, just because you hold yourself accountable and it's all
100%.
up to you. You have to have the drive to do it, which yeah, that's why I started doing it. It's great.
100%. Dude, it's a job at the end of the day. You got to treat it like a
Oh
job. You got
yeah.
to stay consistent. You got to, it's a job, man. So, especially the way I do it, I'm on 5 different platforms. I'm monetized on all of them. I'm on
Hmm.
YouTube.
Congratulations. That's a huge achievement.
Thank
And
you.
you should be super proud of yourself. I'm serious. Like
Uh,
hearing your story today really resonated with me in a lot of ways. And I'm really proud of you. I just want to say that. I'm
Thank
really
you.
proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm proud of y'all too. So, but let's talk about the social media thing because that started for me. I want to show y'all something.
Sure.
My first
And
YouTube video. I don't know if anybody's went
oh
back to
heck
watch
yeah.
this, but my first YouTube video. Hold on. And I started on YouTube. I wasn't one of these. Can y'all see this?
Wow. I was
Yep.
watching some of your old videos on TikTok.
I started on YouTube in my addiction, telling people that I'm going to get clean. So
Yep.
I knew I was going to do it. I knew I was going to be this guy that people could go to and watch his journey and get motivation from. That was my whole goal. I knew I was going to be somebody that beat an addiction that people say you can't beat. There's people out there that say you can't beat fentanyl. You got to go get on that. And I was like, you know what? I can take a different route than that. And I'm going to show people. I'm going to document it. Not that there's a problem with Matt. That's beside the point. I wanted to show people that you could do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did.
Well, and that's I did the exact same thing, and I'm sure you probably
I
dealt
get
with
it.
this in the beginning. Because whenever I started, I got a few days in, and so many people were trying to say, "Oh, this isn't possible. You can't get off subs. No way. You can't just cold turkey this." So many people came against me. I had people starting to report me, all types of shit.
Crazy.
I did you have the same type of thing, or was it a lot more love than hate?
Not on YouTube. Now, when I got on TikTok, I
Yeah.
got a lot of love on TikTok at first. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Until first off, I want to say I got into the whole social media with the intentions of my life was already ruined. I had nothing to lose. And I had a passion for making videos. The name Hustling 101, I started that name means something to me, which is why I keep it, which is why that's my name across all platforms. I wanted to be a social media influencer from the even before the drug addiction, and I had made that account because I was going to make content about businesses and
Sure.
cryptocurrency, investing your money, trying to level up in life. You know what I'm saying? So when I had lost everything, I still had that account, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to switch what I'm going to make this account about, and it's going to be about fixing your life out of drug addiction. That hustling, but you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
hustling your way. So I kept that name. That name means something to me, and I'll never change it. So I stayed on YouTube for like I want to say 4 or 5 months. I was doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? The recovery scene on YouTube isn't near as big as it is on TikTok. But I got it in my
No.
head. I said, you know what? If I really want to take this serious, I need to branch out onto other platforms. TikTok is the second biggest content creation platform that there is. So I said, you know what?
Yep.
I'm gonna start making videos on TikTok. Now, by this point, I had already studied, educated myself on how to make content, how to edit it, how to hook people in, how to do. So I went into this with an educated thing. So when I went from making 10-minute videos down to 30-second videos, I mean, I took off, man. I gained 10,000 followers in 14 days on TikTok because I went into
Yeah.
it with an educated mindset on how to hook people into my content, and that's just what it
And
is.
I did a similar thing because I started my stuff on YouTube and I wasn't going to share my recovery at all because I just I didn't want to throw that out there for everybody just like pound on me with it. And sure enough, whenever I started, everybody kind of came at me. But I learned everything ahead of time and practiced the editing. I don't think people understand how much work
They
goes
don't. They
into
just see
this.
the
Like,
video.
I
dude,
love you,
right,
Jesse.
it is so much work. And that's why like people get mad if you ask for money. Or I just had someone talk on one of my videos the other day. He commented everybody has their Cash App tag. Hell yeah,
Mhm.
dude, because we're trying to do other things on top of this. We're trying to create content. We're trying to make things happen, and that takes money.
Well, you're adding value in the beginning. You're adding value for free. This is valuable.
Hmm.
This gets people
It
to
is.
think. This changes lives.
It
So
does.
when you add value and when you first start your content creation journey, you're not going to make any money in the beginning. That's just what it is. You got to take that lick. Now, on the
Yep.
back end, you can make a lot of money. Like right now, I'm at a point where I'm actually able to make a living off this. Now,
Hmm.
at the beginning, I did not. I wasn't making a dime. I was doing it out of pure passion. There was no reward. There was no none of that. So you're right. A lot of people don't understand that when you, a lot of times, like yourself, like smaller creators, whatever, it takes community funding. It's okay to do a battle
Hmm.
and fund your thing like that. It's okay to, you have to be community funded in the beginning. And that's what people don't understand. They think that you're asking for money. No, I don't have a fucking nonprofit. I don't have a grant paying
Right.
for my shit, like a rehab, you know what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah.
since then, I started off wrong. I did start charging people for coaching. I didn't know any better. I said, you know what? I'm getting all this engagement. I'm getting all these messages. I'm already providing a lot of my time on TikTok. I'm going live twice a day.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for free. I'm making content multiple times a day for free. I'm putting all my time into this. So
Absolutely.
my mindset was these people want more of my time. There's people out there that want more of my time than this. How can I give them that? The only way for me to do that is say, look, I tried to make it cheap. It was a mistake. I shouldn't have did it the way I did it. But here, $25 a week. I feel like that's cheap enough. You'll have 24/7 access to me for a week for $25. You'll have my phone number. You can reach out anytime. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Since then, I've understood that it's not a good look because a lot of people are not going to understand what you're doing. They're going to look at it
Right.
from what other people are saying, and oh my God, that's all they're going to see is charging money. What? All I'm doing is trying to get compensated because imagine if you with 70,000 followers, imagine if you put your phone number out to everybody.
I already over exceeded putting my phone number out, and I don't have that many followers. So I can't even imagine how overstimulated you are
It's
because
not
yeah, it's a lot.
It's not possible. That's the thing. It's not
No.
possible to give your time to that many people, which is why I go live like I do. So people can group in. And since then, I found a better way to do it. I've accepted donations. I battle.
Hmm.
I get money through battling. I get paid through the creator program. I get paid from other
Yep.
platforms. So now I'm able to have money and offer things for free. So I do a Zoom meeting twice a day. Our family, we offer Zoom meetings with certified peer support specialists, people with certifications. We offer that to people for free. All you got to do is shoot me an email and I'll shoot you a link to the Zoom meeting. We do this at 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. every single day.
Okay.
And it's for free for people. Nobody has to pay a dime for it. So since the
I
whole,
think a lot of people misunderstood you, and I'm going to say that I misunderstood you at this point. I'm glad to know more of your story because I could resonate with you now. Like, I saw you as like somebody with like a huge ego, and like I just didn't see it the way that I'm seeing it today. And you know what I see today? Growth.
for sure, for
You
sure.
have grown. You have.
Well, thank you for
Sweet.
noticing. And I'm also combative. I'm not
Absolutely.
gonna lie. When somebody attacks me, I meet that shit with violence. It's like
Well,
straight
you
up,
know what
like
it is? I know more of your story now, and I just want to apologize to you, seriously.
it's okay.
Like, I see the goodness in your heart today. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I've got pure intentions with this.
Yeah, I get it.
So, speaking of funding and all that stuff, I got to do an ad read real quick. I want to try and do it as close to the
Go ahead,
middle
do
as
your thing,
possible.
bro.
This podcast is sponsored by Ashley's Resurfacing. It is in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. I am actually not going to stray from the script this time because I can't make shit up off the top. So, does your bathtub have so many stains it looks like a $10 hotel room during a blacklight party? Or does grandma have the same tile she's had since the 50s? Hit up Ashley's Resurfacing in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Ashley's is a family owned and operated company that is resurfacing everything from your tub to your kitchen sink. They are also huge advocates of all forms of recovery and want to encourage those struggling to look into Matt. Addiction and dependence are two very different things, and Ashley's can testify that Matt can give you your life back. Check out their Facebook page by searching Ashley's Resurfacing. You may have to look for in Hazelhurst to see before and after pics of all the work they've done at a fraction of the cost as full replacement. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast.
Do you have a backup plan? Were you worried when they were like, oh my God, TikTok's going to get
No.
Did you ever fear that one day you would pick up your phone and you wouldn't have what you have?
No, because I've always there's other platforms out there. I will get my message out.
See, you're smart. You still have that good mentality, like that business mentality, like hustling. I get it.
So also, of course, everybody wants to know too, because you've been very vocal about Matt and how you feel about it. Now, whenever you started making those videos, basically just talking about get your mind in the right place and make sure that Matt is the right thing for you, or try and do things without getting on Matt. There's a reason for that. Matt didn't work for you, and it didn't put you in the right direction. So you wanted people to follow the same kind of program that you did because you know it works. So what was it about Matt that, I know it didn't completely turn you off, but that made you just not want to go back to it?
The dependency, the money, the payment, the side effects from it, the feeling trapped. And that's just me. That's me. Like, I know a lot of people don't like that terminology, but it is what it is. You know, a lot of people do feel trapped on that. But at the same time, I also do say it's a tool, and I feel like it should be used as a tool. It's a tool to get you to where you need to be in life. You know, it does save lives. The statistics, you can't argue with them. You can't argue with the statistics. It's the highest form of recovery out there. And if people choose to be on it forever, so be it. I don't got a problem with it. I'm just here to let you know that, hey, this is the way I would do it. You know what I'm saying? This is the way I would have a goal of being substance free one day. And it doesn't matter if it takes 10 years.
It's all about quality of life, because if it's improving your quality of life based on what it was before, then cool. The problem is whenever people end up having, like I ended up having a point that I reached where it was affecting so many things mentally and everything. I wasn't about it anymore. And that's whenever I started trying to get off. So no, I understood everything that you were saying back whenever you were making a lot of those videos and everybody was freaking out. I think because you're also having to think of your content strategy and how you can kind of make sure people keep watching, because that's what gets the message out. So the way that you had to promote it looked a little bad for people that don't understand, but it's not what you meant. And I got that, and I was hoping that other people's would, but everything kind of gets blown up.
Okay, well, let's speak on that real quick. And
Sure.
I do not want to create any type of argument, but anytime, everybody can attest to this. I came into this scene like a fucking rocket. I took off. So, and I didn't know I was like in a recovery. I was just trying to grow my social media, you know, get my message out. I didn't know. So when that happens, you can't say that there's not people out there that have envy, that have been working on,
absolutely,
that have been working on their platforms for a year, 2 years, and they've worked very hard to get 10,000 followers. Mm-hmm. And I come out and I get 10,000 followers in 14 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people might look at that and go, so I'm not saying everything is jealousy, but sometimes when people are envious, they tend to look for a reason to hate. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I kind of felt like that in a way, but at the same time, I do understand. I have said things on my live like you're trading one addiction for another. Somebody took that out of context, but I said it. I said it. I'll stand on it, and I don't mean that.
And for some people, they are though. That's the thing that I don't think everybody understands. Some people are trading one addiction for another. Other people are using it as a tool. Other people are using it to save their life. It all depends on the person.
We have to meet people where they're at. Everyone's
Yeah.
on a different level. Some people are just coming off the street. Some people have, are blue collar, closet addicts. Like everyone's in a different place. And some people are in a different place mentally. So I agree with the whole harm reduction stance. Like we have to be compassionate as well.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just one example that I can look at. And look, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I've got pure intentions. I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect. I've said things that I probably shouldn't have said out of anger. I've been on my live mad before, just having like a fuck you attitude to everybody hating on
Oh
me. Like
yeah.
I'm human, but I'm working
You're
on that.
venting. You're basically venting. Like it's your way to get your shit out because you used to use anger. So like that's your new way to talk things out basically instead of fight things out.
Right. And I'm learning on social media you can't be that way. It's not going to get you anywhere. You have to have intellectual
Absolutely.
conversations like we're having now. This is the best way to get through problems because I mean, like come on, like we're grown here. You
Oh
can't
yeah.
when people start cussing and bashing and belittling, that's childish. That's just childish.
Yeah,
When they
I
start
agree. And honestly, I'm so happy that we're all here having this mature conversation today because this needed to take place. We're all wanting the same end result, which is recovery. We all want the same thing. So
100%.
it's like we need to come together more than divide.
a
If we
hundred
came
percent
together as a community, we could do more for people.
all the way.
But the division is causing people to go, one goes this way, one's with this one's beliefs. But if we try to umbrella everybody in and really come together, we could do a lot.
So I want to bring something up. This is my stance on everything. I don't have a jealous or envious bone in my body. I've been gifted with that in my life. I don't look at somebody else successful and have any type of envy. That's just in my heart. I want to see everybody win, which is why I've never really made hateful videos towards somebody that I didn't agree with or yada yada. I don't do that. Now I have defended myself, which was a mistake to even do that. But what I'm getting at is maybe I can flip some people's mindsets here. When you get somebody like me or somebody else that comes out of nowhere or yada yada that's getting all these views, getting millions, because I've gotten over 20 million views at this point. But instead of looking at that in a jealous kind of negative way, why not look at that like this person has brought 20 million
I'm
eyes
proud of
into
you. I
this?
don't look at that in a negative
I know
way.
you
I've
don't.
never,
I'm just saying like that's how I look at things. Like this person has brought 20 million eyes into this community. You don't think some of them have recovered and got help and because of that?
absolutely.
Now when they get here, do you think they want to see people going back and forth being toxic?
I say it all the time. I was just talking to Marie the other day. There was a situation between two doctors recently, where they were having a big like back and forth, and it was just like, you guys are supposed to be helping people. You guys are the experts, and we're having a childish discussion just because one person didn't understand what the other person was saying. Like
Yeah.
that brings people, somebody who's struggling, they come into this community and they see that and instantly they're just back out on the streets because why would I want to be a part of that?
A
So
hundred
yeah,
percent.
no, completely.
It's just unprofessional. Professional people don't carry themselves in that manner. They
Right.
don't try to they don't try to, like come up with things to try to make somebody look like, you know what I mean? It can always be a productive adult conversation about things, and that's how it should be.
Okay.
That's professionalism at its
Hmm.
finest. And look, I'm not saying I'm professional. I've done a lot of stupid shit. I've got on here. I think I made a video. I went the fuck off cussing everybody out. That's not professional at all. So, um,
We live, we learn, and we grow.
It's our
for sure.
platforms too. You know what? If you need a video where you just start cussing everybody out, you can even put it in a little caption. Hey, I got a vent. People got to be okay with that, man. Sometimes you got to
Yeah,
do what you got to do, and that helps people see your growth whenever you do that. So yeah.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, at the end of the day, everybody needs to come together. Everybody needs to
I
come together.
agree.
I'm going to say something else too, just to give an idea to people. Instead of trying to do like a publicity type stunt, if you see somebody you don't like doing something, try to jump in their inbox. Say, look,
Hmm.
let's jump. Let's talk about this. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree. And I'm not saying everybody does it for a publicity thing, but it is publicity. You're putting that toxic energy out for everybody to see. And it creates a
Yep.
situation, and then egos get involved. And I'm not better than anybody. I've got an ego just like everybody else, maybe even more. I think people have seen it, but I think there's a right way to go about things. And I would like to see the recovery community come more together
Me too.
for
I
sure.
would as well, because you're right. It's going to make people not want to come, like, turn away. Sometimes I get like that where I don't want to scroll TikTok because I'm sick of it. Like, I'm sick of the drama, the chaos. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
need a little bit
unnecessary.
of quiet time in your
It's
head.
un, it's unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary.
Besides all that, what do you want to do with your platform in general? Do you have you're starting to build it up? You've got a nice platform now where you can actually kind of make some moves. Is there any specific thing that you want to accomplish, in the next few years to help build the recovery community or build something that can actually help people, whether it's online or somewhere else?
Well, first off, I'm focused on growing my platforms. I've actually just started getting on other platforms too. Like I'm on like five different ones now: Instagram, Facebook, Clapper, YouTube, TikTok, and I'm having some success on them too. I'm gaining followers. I just want to kind of be somebody that's looked at like this can be done. I want to be an inspiration and a motivation for addicts out there because I've been where you're at. I've felt like there was no way out before, and this is how I did it, and you can do it. I just want to show people it's possible. I want to get into speaking engagements. I want to go to schools,
Yep.
any stages. I don't care wherever it is, speaking engagements, and keep building my platform. I want to gain millions of followers, get the message out to millions of people. And because people gain millions of followers over the dumbest shit. Why not? Why not recovery?
There's nothing wrong with watching some fun TikTok videos where somebody's dancing and stuff, but whenever you have a video that is someone just screaming and being stupid and that gets 30 million views, but then you have somebody talking about some real stuff, helping people and stuff like that, and that
Yeah,
gets 500, it just, man, it sucks. So, yeah, being able to promote that in a better way is awesome.
yeah, yeah. And I do make my content in a way that's going to grab people's attention and get views because the algorithm looks for that. And for
Right.
everybody in here that does content creation, I'm going to put y'all on game. The key to social media, grab attention and hold it. That's all it is. The algorithm pays attention to that. The algorithm pays attention to when a person scrolls onto your video, they pay attention to how many people stay and watch. And when they
Yep.
see that a lot of people are doing that, they'll push it. And that's how you go viral, straight up. And if
Yep.
you can go viral with a message like, hey, fentanyl's taking everybody out, that's a good ass video to go viral. So
I really think that you would make an excellent motivational speaker. And I think that maybe even going into teaching people about building a social media account could be something that would be positive for you because you've walked the walk, no different than recovery.
I think you would be good speaking in, you mentioned like schools and in front of people and everything. I think specifically you'd be really good at speaking at like rehab centers, which you can do pretty easily if you start like contacting them and stuff. They do a lot of stuff like that, usually
yeah,
weekly. So yeah, I think you'd be great at that because those people that are just starting out and don't kind of know where to turn, feel like you could put them onto a better way. So that might be awesome for you, man.
I'm gonna get into all that. When I can't
Heck
give
yeah.
you an exact time when I'm gonna do it, but when I get into a situation where I'm a little financially better, whatever, because I'm getting there. I'm getting there, and I get a little more structure.
It takes
Definitely,
time.
Takes
You
time.
got to start from the ground up, and you have to build a solid foundation.
I'm building
You don't
something
want
here.
your foundation to rock, so you got to do it when you're ready, and little by little, and you chip away at it, and you'll get what you want.
100%. You know, I want to see everybody succeed in the recovery community, because the more views y'all get, the more followers y'all get, that's the more eyes
The
you're
more the
helping.
message gets heard.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what
So
I
that's how
care
you
about.
go. And one way you don't do that is by attacking each other. That makes people not want to watch. Straight up. I'm gonna just
Heck
let y'all
yeah.
know.
I want to
Um,
make sure, before we end this up, if you have anything extra that you want to say, feel free to say it. Make sure you get like your YouTube out there and stuff so people can look it up.
I'm hustling 101 across all platforms. Just type in hustling
Everything.
101,
Okay.
you'll find me.
Cool.
Across all platforms.
How do you have that confidence? That's what I need to work on. I'm serious. Like, no, really, I get very nervous when people ask me anything about money. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to come across like I don't know why I'm like that though. Maybe that's something that I need to work on, but I can't figure out why I'm like that.
What do you mean exactly when it comes to money? Like,
Like I'm real, like I feel like you're super confident. Like you're like, oh, if you want to support me, like that's amazing. I envy that, to be honest with you. Like I wish that I could have a little bit more confidence like you.
are you afraid that you're gonna like get mistaken for like, oh, she's asking for money? Is that what you're saying?
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. And I get nervous. So
Because
it's like
you,
yeah, I don't know why, but it's like I want my message to be heard. I want to help as many people as I can.
yeah. First off, you just got to be like, I want to explain to everybody in here that when somebody asks for a subscription, that's not, oh, you got to subscribe to get the, obviously fucking not. You can be in the live all you want. If you want to support, because this is a community funded project. You being up
Yep.
here, your little ad that you did, I mean, any funding helps this thing. So if you believe in it, if you believe in what somebody's doing, a great way to support is subscribe, send gifts, things like that. It's not begging for money. It's not asking for money. It's saying, hey, if you believe in what I do, because I put a lot of work into this, I would appreciate the support if you subscribe. If not, that's perfectly fine.
I just like your confidence. Like you just come across like I don't know, something that is it's a very positive thing though. And you can use that confidence to like working out, making yourself feel good about yourself, rebuilding your life. It's all
Mm.
baby steps and I feel like you're going to get to everywhere you want to get to as long as you stay on the right track.
It takes knowing you can do it. You got to believe in yourself, you know. And I understand all that. Stop caring so much about what other people think.
That's my problem.
People care
Yeah.
so
I
much.
need a good, hey, dude, I need a good therapy session about that. I could probably
When,
talk all day about that, but it's the truth. I feel like I was raised to always worry about what other people think. That's how I
yeah,
grew up.
you got to
I don't
stop
know.
that. Because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Just like you said, you envy people will envy. People envy that. The reason people envy it because they don't have that. People envy confidence, and it's not a
Yes.
bad thing. But if you start doing that and being more confident, you're going to get people that envy that too, because they're going to say, damn, I don't have the confidence to do that. Because it does take
Yeah.
confidence and it takes
Oh, heck
practice.
yeah.
I didn't start out as good as, this is from a year now being in front of a camera.
Well,
So
you do an amazing job. You have a huge presence, and I think that you really keep people engaged. And thank you.
thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me on. You got anything else, Kyle?
I'm good, man. I want to make sure you guys got it all out, but if there's nothing else. We're all set.
So yeah, guys, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for
Cool.
stopping by, showing me love, support. That's my story. We can do it
It
again
was
Yeah.
sometime.
amazing.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for sharing it, dude. Thanks for being on here. I really appreciate it.
No
It's
problem,
awesome
man.
to hear from you, man.
Hopefully, we could come together again. I feel like we could continue this conversation at another time. I would love to chat with you so that maybe we could bring the recovery community together. Maybe
Yeah,
we could get people engaged on a live like this
I'm all for it.
at nighttime or
Heck yeah.
something.
I'm all for it.
Heck yeah.
Spread love, not hate. Love, not hate.
There
Positivity.
you
That's how
go.
we roll over here. SHT all the way.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everybody. I will hopefully be able to get this up on YouTube here in the next couple of days. I'm gonna have me and Marie's on in the next couple of days. We're working on getting everything out there so that we can get this on multiple platforms so you don't have to just be in the lives, but obviously the lives are the most fun. Otherwise, y'all have a beautiful Sunday. We're going to close it out, and I love you all.